What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. So in the last video we got this all ready, also got a truck, which is super cool, but more importantly this thing is now 100% ready. I just spent all morning getting the garage like ready. So yeah, all the jams are sanded, taped, everything's covered. So yeah, basically today we're just gonna spray these things. Shouldn't take too long. Just do the same thing I did inside the panels, put the black base down, then the purple, then the clear. Yeah, so we're gonna do that real quick. And then also, I don't know, I have to fix the Corvette because it's super nice out. I'm not driving it and I feel pretty bad for not driving it. So I wanna fix that. I gotta change the oil pressure sensor. I probably won't film much of that, but it's supposed to be like a pretty intense job, I guess. You either have to take the intake manifold off or you have to somehow get behind it. And I looked and there's really not much room. So that'll be interesting. But first things first, we'll get this thing painted. Then as far as that goes, once that's done, I can block out the exterior panels now. So the quarter panels, the roof, fenders, and then also the doors and the trunk and the hood. I'll do that stuff off the car because it's just way easier because the car's so low. It's easier to have them parts on a stand rather than like bend over and do it. So I'll just do it that way. And then same with the doors, just flat instead of, you know, having to sit or like whatever on the ground and do it sideways. So really my goal is this weekend, get this thing painted in the jams and that, and then start prepping the body and see how far we get. It would be really cool if next week we could like paint the outside of the car. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna say 1 to 2 weeks, probably more like 2 weeks, but we'll see what happens. So anyways, all I'm gonna do is mix up some paint and start painting. So we got it all done. It looks pretty good. It's a little bit dirty in certain spots, but I reused the plastic that I used when I did the parts. I just flipped it over. But I shouldn't have did that. There was quite a bit of dirt in it, so. It's not a big deal though. You really won't notice it in these areas. So I had a huge problem. The coupler on the airline popped off. It's been like popping off randomly. I thought I had it somewhat fixed. And then when I was down here doing the back wall, the airline popped off. I still had the trigger pulled and it just went, shot paint right on the back wall. Luckily, you're never gonna see it. It went all down there, but whatever. I switched the coupler out to the other one I had and it was all good. But yeah, I really love this color, man. This is so nice to me. I love it. Very nice. This is painted, obviously this is all done. So I just untaped it, but I left all the openings taped up. That way I'm not gonna get a whole bunch of dust inside when I'm sanding the parts and stuff. But since that is all done, I really wanna get this thing done so I can start driving it and enjoying it. So I'm going to jump into that and show you what we gotta do to that. This is insane. I don't know how people do this, but take a valve cover, like plastic, whatever, off. And it's way, I don't even know if you can see it on the camera. It's right there. You can hardly see the top of the plug. Somehow you gotta get that unplugged, which I don't even like see where the tab is on it to get it. You gotta get that unplugged, then you gotta get a socket and an extension and a universal and stuff on that. Get it out, then you somehow have to fish the new one in there. This, I don't understand how this is possible. But, I mean, it's either that or take the whole intake and like, I guess throttle body, everything would have to come off. Well, with it, just undo that, I guess. But I don't really want to undo my fuel line, which I mean, I guess isn't a huge deal. So anyways, my point is, worst case, I have to take the intake off. So I'm gonna try and do it without taking the intake off, but if I can't get it back in or if I can't even get that one out, it's whatever. It has to be changed, so I'll just have to take the intake out then. But I'm gonna try and do it leaving it in first. So we'll see how this goes. It's been like 15-20 minutes. I finally got the sensor unplugged, which was all I've got done this whole time. So I just plugged the new one in before I removed the old one, just to see if it changes the gauge. Because if the gauge goes to like full oil pressure again, then I guess it's not that sensor. So I want to know that before I go through all the hassle of taking the old one out, putting this new one in, and then, you know, who knows if it wasn't even the problem. That would suck. That's a lot of extra work. So I don't know, I googled it. I don't really see anybody doing this to check, so I don't know if it's gonna work, but I still have the oil pressure sensor in the motor still, so there should be no oil going anywhere. I basically just unplugged it, plugged in the new one, and I'm hoping that the gauge will say like 0 oil pressure, because before it was reading full. I don't know. In my head, it works. So I'm just gonna fire this thing up and we'll see what happens, I guess. Back to 0, but it did that before until I started it. I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay. That should be good then, I think. I mean, it said low oil pressure, gauge didn't move, but it fully moved and went back. So that should be good, but that doesn't fix it, obviously. Now I have to actually fix it. That's gonna be a pain. I could hardly get that thing unplugged, so. Anyways, I guess I'll work on that now. So, small update with the oil pressure sensor. I managed to get it unplugged, and here's the plug. And I think I said that already. But I also got it off, and I don't know if you can see, I got it off and then immediately dropped it behind the motor. So that's sick. So now what I have to do is try and fish. So my GoPro died, but anyways, I got it done like 3 hours later, and I was able to get it from behind the motor. I went and I bought one of these fancy little grabber things from Canadian Tire. And it even has a light on it, which is pretty sick. A little light in there. But anyways, that's how I grabbed it. And then that's also what I used to like reach around the back of the intake and kind of like drop it in the hole. But then you can't spin it with that, right? So it's super hard. It took literally 3 hours to do. But yeah, I started it up. and it runs, and the oil pressure reads, you know, where it should. So that's good. So I'm just gonna end the video there. I'm actually pretty happy with the progress this week. Like, that thing is now ready. We can start sanding the outside of it. And then the next step is just paint, which is sick. I ended up getting started a little bit on the one door, but the Corvette is all done, back together. This thing is now basically jammed out completely, so I can start sanding the fenders and the quarters and the roof, and then get the doors and the hood and the trunk all sanded. I actually have next week off, like I'm on vacation, and basically my vacation is gonna be sanding that thing and hopefully getting it painted, because I really wanna get it done. I'm super pumped now, seeing like all the color going on the car. I can't wait to get it all done. So it's pretty exciting stuff. So I wanna get that done. Hopefully within next week, we'll be getting some color on the outside of that car, which would be like really sick. And then once the body is done, then we're gonna worry about all this stuff. So like the body kit, basically. And that thing. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit different, I guess. We got to see some Corvette stuff. It didn't do much, but got it working, so that's sick. And yeah, made big progress on that thing. And now we're gonna be getting into like pretty cool stuff. Finishing up the car. Not really finishing it. There's still like a lot to do after it's painted, but we'll be able to see the car and the color on the car, and I'm super stoked for that. So I hope you guys are excited, and hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.